We are born into a world of mysteries. As we grow, we learn through school and experience how things work, and our place within the world. Science explains what we know about physical reality, and the biological and social sciences give us an understanding of how we relate to each other and our environment. Despite these explanations, fundamental mysteries persist. Why are we born? What is the meaning of life? Is there a God? Is there life after death? Are we reincarnated? Philosophies and religions over millennia have sought to probe and answer these questions. Our religions tell us that we need faith to believe in God and the hereafter. We need faith because there has never been solid proof of God, life after death, or heaven and hell. For most of us, these questions are irrelevant in our day-to-day lives. We may belong to a religion, but most of us go about our daily lives meeting the challenges and opportunities we encounter. We live our lives fulfilling our ambitions and doing our best, or what we can. For a few of us, this is not enough. We crave a broader context in which to understand our place in life. Will we face judgment when we die for the good and bad we've done in our lives? Should we be considerate of one another? Or choose what's best for us? If there is a God, does he or she ever listen to prayers or intervene on our behalf? Do we have souls that survive our death? And what about reports of mental telepathy, foretelling the future, apparitions, and communicating with the dead? Are these all just hoaxes and parlor tricks? At some point in our lives, each of us settles on answers to these questions that satisfy us. We may believe in a religion or spiritual realm, or perhaps we conclude that there is no God or soul, and that death marks the end to our existence in any form. Historically, the prevailing wisdom has been found to be biased, limited, or even wrong. People thought it was obvious for thousands of years that the Earth was flat and the center of the universe. Those in power persecuted scientists who tried to demonstrate the principles of astronomy. Over the ages, much of Western civilization was also convinced that God exists and happens to look like us. Students of physics discover that physical reality is much more complicated than what meets the eye. Newtonian physics described a world where everything could be explained with mathematical equations. Quantum physics revealed that there is much we do not understand about time, space, and matter. Research continues every day around the world, expanding our knowledge of physics. For example, we think we understand time. However, once you dive deep into quantum mechanics, you'll find time is relative, and there could be more than 3 spatial dimensions. Thus, science itself suggests there is more to our reality than what seems apparent. Mysteries remain unsolved. In our current age, we have 3 fundamental groups of believers. Let's call the first group the secular group. They live life at face value. People in this group are born, learn about the world, make a living, socialize, and perhaps raise a family. While such lives can be guided by ethical and moral principles, there is no spiritual acknowledgement, whether it is a belief in God or life after death. The secular group believes it is lights out, at the time of death. Let's call the second group the religious group. They follow established religions or religious scripture. They believe in a higher power and attempt to live their lives according to their religious principles and beliefs. Many expect to be judged after they die, and relegated to heaven or hell. The third group is the spiritual group. They are unsatisfied with the secular approach and religious teachings, and may entertain ideas like life energy, higher powers, and reincarnation. As we live our lives, some switch from one group to another. Some people born into a religion, fall away later in life. People who have a near-death experience or a psychedelic drug trip, may go from the secular group to the religious or spiritual group. There have been mystics and scholars over the ages who claim to have discovered arcane and subtle knowledge. Many of these prophets and mystics did their best to convey their experience and knowledge to their followers and succeeding generations. However, its very nature made the mystical experience difficult to relate, let alone spread to the masses in a way that would not adulterate the original inspiration. And so metaphors, myths, and parables were concocted to guide mankind to develop its best abilities. In today's modern age, there are myriad spiritual traditions and practices available, everything from Yogananda, Eckhart Tolle, Deepak Chopra, and the book, The Secret. Those looking to switch beliefs are left with a cornucopia of choices and paths to take. One of the most novel and revealing bodies of work was published 50 years ago. The work ushered in the concept that you create your own reality, and provided a user manual for living. It started with a book written by a woman who claimed to speak for a being who was no longer alive. Furthermore, this being wanted to pass on knowledge that would be valuable to those of us looking to improve our lives. The book was written by Jane Roberts, who started off researching and eventually writing about extrasensory perception, or ESP. She discovered a connection to the being known as Seth. And for over 20 years, Jane entered a trance once or twice a week and channeled Seth's dictation. Her husband Rob dutifully wrote down every word, and together they published multiple books of Seth's teachings. Jane and Rob were well aware of the prevailing skepticism of non-religious spiritual beings. So they documented their experiences thoroughly. Rob inserted his commentary on the dates, times, and setting of each of Jane and Seth's sessions. Most notably, the material was written in one pass. Neither Seth nor Jane went back to correct, clarify, or enhance the dictated text. Seth's books are intended to help those who are struggling to improve their lives and not achieving the success they expect. In addition, the books give readers a broader context to their lives and help to explain the triumphs and suffering in our world's societies. Seth's first book is called Seth Speaks, The Eternal Validity of the Soul. It provides an explanation of the reasons and methods we use in building our reality. This was followed with The Nature of Personal Reality, which focuses on discovering the power we have to change problematic aspects of our lives. Seth's words are eloquent and nuanced and not easily summarized. However, as an introduction, here are some of Seth's spoken words. Your scientists are finally learning what philosophers have known for centuries, that mind can influence matter. They still have to discover the fact that mind creates and forms matter. The personality is given the greatest gift of all. You get exactly what you want to get. You create from nothing the experience that is your own. If you do not like your experience, then look within yourself and change it. But realize also that you are responsible for your joys and triumphs, and that the energy to create any of these realities comes from the inner self. What you do with it is up to the individual personality. Quite literally, the inner self forms the body by magically transforming thoughts and emotions into physical counterparts. You grow the body. Its condition perfectly mirrors your subjective state at any given time. Using atoms and molecules, you build your body, forming basic elements into a form that you call your own. You are learning to be co-creators. You are learning to be gods as you now understand the term. You are learning responsibility, the responsibility of any individualized consciousness. You are learning to handle the energy that is yourself, for creative purposes. Three-dimensional experience is an invaluable place of training. Your personality as you now know it will indeed persevere, and with its memories, but it is only a part of your entire identity, even as your childhood in this life is an extremely important part of your present personality, though now you are far more than a child. You must understand that your present is the point at which flesh and matter meet with the spirit. Therefore the present is your point of power in your current lifetime as you think of it. If you assign greater force to the past, then you will feel ineffective and deny yourself your own energy. You were born into a state of grace, therefore, it is impossible for you to leave it. You will die in a state of grace whether or not special words are spoken for you, or water or oil is poured upon your head. You share this blessing with the animals and all other living things. You cannot fall out of grace, nor can it be taken from you. Everything within your three-dimensional system occurs simultaneously. Each action creates other possibilities of itself, or other actions from the infinite energy of the universe, which itself is never still. You are born knowing that you possess a unique, intimate sense of being that is itself, and that seeks its own fulfillment, and the fulfillment of others. You are born seeking the actualization of the ideal. You are born seeking to add value to the quality of life, to add characteristics, energies, abilities to life that only you can individually contribute to the world, and to attain a state of being that is uniquely yours, while adding to the value fulfillment of the world. These quotes come from one of the 10 books Seth dictated covering such topics as the nature of the psyche, mass events, health, dreams, and 2 volumes on the unknown reality. Both Rob and Jane are no longer alive. However, when they were alive, they shunned any idea of creating a Seth movement or organization. To this day, there are only Seth readers around the world who meet from time to time in social gatherings or on the internet to discuss concepts from the books. Seth's teachings are entirely optional. People can live fulfilling lives and never hear of Seth. But for those of us looking behind the curtains, Seth's ideas can be an illuminating source of knowledge.